Good morning, everyone. It's Cynthia with your daily tarot card of the day. Welcome, welcome. This week we are using a lovely angel card oracle deck. I don't have the information in the description box, but if anybody recognizes this deck and knows the name, by all means, drop it in the comments section. I'm going to take a moment to tune into the collective energies of today and spirit to bring through messages. These messages are timeless, so whenever you happen to find this video, there's likely something here for you. Take what resonates and leave the rest of it behind. And I invite you also to tune into your own intuition, inner guidance, higher self, spirit guides, so that you might receive your own personal messages or insights when the card appears. Oh, okay, we're ready. What do we have, spirit, today? 41, Remiel, mercy. I'm really struck by the amount of darkness in this card. So I feel like if there are some challenges or difficulties or confusions around you, which might be indicated by 4 + 1 being 5 in terms of numerology, or some stubbornness, some kind of conflict, either internal conflict and you're finding yourself being very stubborn, or you know, your racing ego mind. Like, you might notice that you have to turn off the make an extra effort towards speaking kindly and gently to yourself. And there could be some kind of energy that comes up, like maybe something triggers a shadow aspect of your personality or something from the unconscious, or you know, an old memory or an old hurt that you felt has already been dealt with, and it kind of shows up out of the blue. Or maybe you know what the trigger for it showing up was, but still it's difficult to deal with. So with some type of, and I am feeling this more so, your circumstances might be a little bit hairy. I mean, you could be having some difficulties or challenges, right? But at the same time, I'm feeling this way more on an internal level. And I'm feeling like something is illuminated or suddenly pops up to the surface. And with mercy, the biggest thing that I'm getting is to be gentle with yourself. So again, if the thoughts or the internal monologue starts to go towards the inner critic, or towards ruminating, resenting, or replaying old memories and old hurts and things like that, in a not so good feeling way, try to, I don't want to say redirect as in like ignore it and change focus. I mean like flip it. So try to look for the healing, look for the lesson, look for the strength, be easy on yourself, let yourself off the hook. Recognize that whatever that thing was part of a process, and it's okay. And in so doing, if there's other people involved or character types that contributed to whatever this was. Allow yourself a moment to either forgive or lend some grace and compassion or gentleness. Like, as you do it for yourself, and the more and more you do it for yourself, the easier it comes to be able to at least take a neutral or a neutral approach to others who may have been involved, or and that doesn't necessarily mean that you're jumping right into forgiveness or you're letting it go. It means that with understanding and grace, you can kind of detach from it long enough to create some space between you and the other or others or situation. In that space is where the capacity for forgiveness lies. And so you might find that there are still things that bother you, which means that the forgiveness, while it might be present to an extent, hasn't flowed freely. There could be some residual energies there. And so, again, creating that space with a bit of equanimity, with a bit of grace, with a bit of detachment or neutrality, and tending to yourself with mercy and gentleness and compassion, then allows that mercy, gentleness, and compassion to flow into the space between you and whatever this challenge, situation, change, conflict, memory, whatever it is that's represented by this darkness. You fill it with the light of compassion that you've given to yourself, because that will naturally flow out from you. And if you've created this space between you and whatever it is, not only will you flood that arena with more light, but you cast light on the shadows, and then you can see, like this angel trying to grab hand, trying to help through. But sometimes we might not be able to make that connection because we can't see from here to there, and so we're afraid to reach into that, even though we might trust that spirit, that principle, that guardian, that new energy that's trying to genuinely help and support and nourish us, right? Sometimes we have a hard time reaching through the darkness to that because it's dark. And that's when we have to go inward and say, creating that neutrality and that equanimity and that space, that detachment, feeding ourselves, and that light shines through the darkness, and then we can see the true nature of what's this fresh energy coming to me, and is this something I need in my life? What is this resource or person or opportunity that's going to help and support me? Is it genuine? I want to trust it. And I think I trust it, but I want a little bit more. And so when we've given ourselves the compassion and the grace and the mercy, that light shines out from us and allows us to see more clearly what's available or what's making an effort to try and help and support us, what's trying to come in for us, a synchronicity, a little wink from the divine, or what God winks, or a leg up from the universe, right? We can actually then discern which ones are good and which ones are not useful, and the true nature of it. So I'm feeling with this card, whether the challenges and changes or conflicts are external or internal, or whether external circumstances trigger internal states, the advice is the same. You can't give mercy to anybody else until you give it to yourself. So if you detach and create some space between you and whatever this is, and allow yourself some compassion, some gentleness, some mercy, try and flip the bad thoughts into the good thoughts, well, I can feel bad about that and I can recognize my mistakes, but feeling bad about past mistakes doesn't really help me to become a better person. It just makes me feel bad. So what did I learn from that, and how can I approach new situations in my life with that different outlook or with that different tactic? Gratitude, appreciating the things, past and present, that have brought you to a point of being a better person, because you're not the same person you were yesterday or last week or last month. There might be a steady character there, but even your character has grown and changed through experiences. You might have a lot of the same preferences and opinions, but even those may have become nuanced or refined over time. You learn new information, have new experiences, and even the understanding of things that you hold true as a part of your nature seem to grow and change. You're definitely not the same person you were 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, or when you were a kid. So recognizing that about yourself and allowing yourself to believably, we're not spiritually bypassing with like fluffy affirmations per se. Allow yourself to take 5 minutes to choose one thing and that's bothering you, and actually walk believable steps to flipping it from feeling bad to feeling better. And when you look at the other situations that could be challenging you, or people, or memories or triggers or whatever they are, again, detach, create the space, and allow yourself some gentleness, some mercy, some grace, some forgiveness, some compassion in that way, because that's going to help you recognize what's coming towards you and have a little bit more confidence in being able to discern what's coming towards you and what's good for you and what's not so good for you. That looks like the thing that I want, but for whatever reason it doesn't feel like it's going to be very helpful. And yet, even though that's not exactly the thing that I want, it feels like it would be really helpful in moving me forward. Being able to make that distinction and that discernment, because one thing could look almost exactly like what you want, and it's, if you were to go for it, it might not be the thing that you want, or there could be way more work to get it to be the thing that you want than you had bargained for. And while that's a process and can get you to where you want to go, do you need that process? Or, if you went with a different option, or if you waited. So it's different for everybody, based on your circumstances and situations. But again, the key definitely seems to be in that space of working with whatever comes up inside, instead of working directly with a trigger or a situation or a person that might be around you at this time. If there is one specifically identifiable to you, disengaging from that for a moment and going back to the internal and lending yourself some compassion and some grace in that way seems to be the thing that and working with that inner critic, or working with that shadow aspect of consciousness that may have been illuminated through today's energy in some fashion. That seems to be the key to sort of seeing more clearly. I do thank you so much for being here, and I wish you all the peace and the blessings and the mercy and the grace in the world. It is infinite, no doubt. So thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.